So yeah, Mr. Hosmer, I guess. So here at the convention in Springfield, Jackson Days.
Well, first of all, I'd like to welcome young Democrats to Jackson Day 2010. And on behalf of the Democratic Party, we're trying to get people organized and energized throughout the state of Missouri, and I think Jackson Day is a great opportunity to do that. We want to welcome the convention here to Springfield, and we're looking forward to working with young Democrats across the state of Missouri to make 2010 a good election cycle.
Great. What do you think the challenges that Missouri Democrats face in this cycle particularly?
Well, I think the biggest obstacle we have right now is making sure we educate voters on really what's happening in Washington. You look at what there's a lot of misinformation that was put out about health care, and if you look at what actually has happened on health care, I think when people actually understand what the bill does, especially young people, allowing young people to stay on their parents' insurance policies up to age 26, eliminating pre-existing condition exclusions, making insurance companies more responsive to the people that they insure. I think those are all good changes, and I think when most people in Missouri see those things, I think they're going to be supportive. And so I think our job is going to be educating voters, making sure voters understand what improvements we've made at both the federal level and at the state level. And I think that when voters see that, I think they're going to be very supportive of Democratic candidates.
Statewide, where do you see the challenging matchups being?
I think we've got a fantastic campaign running. Robin Carnahan's been a great Secretary of State, and she's now running for the United States Senate, probably against Roy Blunt, although there's 9-10 people in that race. But I think Robin will she comes from the Carnahan family, which has a great legacy of public service in this state, and I think that she will do very, very well. She's very popular in all parts of the state. She plays particularly well here in Southwest Missouri. She won Southwest Missouri, or won Greene County, where we're at tonight, over 54% of the vote, which is very, very strong when you consider Greene County traditionally is a Republican area. So Robin is a great candidate. She's got a lot of great issues, and she's probably going to be running against Roy Blunt, who, when you stack up his record against hers, I don't think there's going to be any comparison to Missouri voters who has a better record to move Missouri forward and be the next United States Senator for the state of Missouri.
In your role as chairman, would you mind describing particularly what it is you do in terms of organizing and facilitating the activities of the party?
Well, we try to obviously recruit candidates, and that phase of the work has been done. We've recruited our state legislative candidates. We've obviously got statewide candidates, congressional candidates. So those candidates have been recruited. Now our next step is making sure that we get those candidates doing the work that they need to do to get elected, helping them raise money, helping them meet voters, helping them with voter lists, and basically facilitating what they need to win in November. So our job we've been working for the last year, organizing, raising money, and having things ready for the 2010 election cycle.
You bring to the chairman position, I guess, a lot of experience in the legislature. How is that influence directed where your priorities lie?
I think that's a great question. I think Missouri. When I was in the legislature 12 years, and when I was there, the Democrats had control of the Missouri House. And when we lost control of the House, we saw some things happen in Missouri that I don't think a lot of people like. We saw people cut health care for poor kids. You saw tuition increases go up for kids. You saw college affordability be more expensive. And I think what we're trying to do, and I think Jay Nixon's done a great job the last 2 years, he's told the universities you're not going to increase your tuition, and they haven't. He's done a lot of things in a bad fiscal year to make sure that education remains a priority both at the higher education level and at elementary and secondary education level. So I think he's done a great job, and I think what we have to do is work to get the House back. And I think our challenge this cycle, we need 8 seats in the Missouri legislature to get back a majority of 163. So, if we win those 8 seats, and we've targeted 19, 20 seats across the state that we think are good races to pick up, and we're going to be working with those candidates, making sure that they have the resources they need to win in those races.
Do you have a message for particularly, I guess, young Democrats, people my age, under 25, under 30, in terms of why these campaigns and these activities are important, and
Really, when you think about it, young people have more reason to be involved in politics than anybody. And unfortunately, historically, they haven't been. Because what happens in Missouri today is going to affect you and people your age a lot longer than it is going to affect me and people my age. So it's what happens on health care, what happens on jobs, what happens on the economy, what happens on the environment. And those are issues that young people care very passionately about. And I think they owe it to themselves and owe it to their generation to be involved in politics. It's still, in my opinion, it's still a noble calling, and I think people get involved, and it's easy to get involved. I think young people need to call candidates and call Robin Carnahan's office and say, I want to get involved in Columbia, or I want to get involved in Kansas City or St. Louis. Get involved in these campaigns. Susan Monteith, running for state auditor, great candidate, needs the help, and young people can organize on campus. Democrats for the last two presidential cycles, have outperformed Republicans in the young people demographic, and I think that's something that's going to continue. And I think what we need to do is make sure and give young people the reason to be involved in politics. See that there's a consequence of being involved, and you can improve not only your own personal life and situation, but you can also improve that of your state.
Sounds great. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.